Hey everybody, welcome back to Feedback Loop. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Joey.
And this week we listened to an album called Welcome to Mali by the artist Amadou and Mariam. Artists, I suppose. There are two of them. One of them is Amadou, and the other is Mariam.
But together.
As said, together they are Amadou and Mariam. And so this... The why I don't have the why for you. The why is because I wanted to do this album. The how, I suppose, I found out about them via, this is going to sound really bad. Well, not really. It's not going to sound bad. It's going to sound lame for me, but they were featured in a song by Sophie Tucker, who, for those who don't know, are like a house musician duo, but it's like the super mainstream, like ultra music kind of house music. Anyways, they started streaming a lot over last year, so I've been watching a lot of Sophie Tucker. They released a new song with Amadou and Mariam, and I was like, I like this, so I want to check out where they came from to see what kind of vibes they got. And now we're here listening to one of their albums.
Pretty cool.
Which is not a house album by any means. I kind of expected that going in. I mean, the album's called Welcome to Mali, so I expected it to be some kind of like African world music kind of stuff. I didn't really expect what I got, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and it's Mali, the country in Africa,
yes.
Not Molly like a girl Molly, or Molly like the
drug
name for a drug.
Yeah, no, Mali, the African country, the West African Mali.
Yeah,
it also still sounds like it could be a drug, calling it West African Mali. But yeah, the country of Mali, where Amadou, and Mariam, presumably originated from and reside.
Also, get ready to hear a bunch of mispronounced words, by the way.
Oh yeah, so many, and horrible segues, because the primary language in Mali is French, and most, if not all of the I guess not all of the song titles. Several of the song titles are in French. Some of them I'm also not sure if they're actually French or if they're like an African subculture. Like,
okay, so the language, I did some research because I was like, this isn't French. Parts of this are not French.
Yeah, you were more curious than I.
I can at least recognize French and know some French. But so apparently also the like national language of Mali is Bambara, I think is how you would pronounce it. So it's like their language. And then I guess since, just fucking every other country just took parts of Africa, of course, there's French thrown in there because the French are one of the people that laid claim to part of that continent. So yeah,
and there's a lot of like cultural references in this album to some of the more, I guess, native ethnic groups and stuff, which is cool. But we will get to that as they come up, I suppose. As if I have done significant research for this album, I have not, and I kind of feel bad about it, but also I don't, because that's not how I listen to music.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into it. The first track is Sabali. I don't really know. I didn't look up the English translations of these. I should have. It would have been easier to segue. But we're just going to plow through them.
Sabali means patience.
Patience. That makes sense, given the song's lyrical content.
Yeah, dude, fucking, I had no idea what to make of this whenever you you recommended it. And it's because I don't listen to, I try to listen to like worldly music from other countries and stuff, but it's hard whenever you're in, I don't know, like, I don't get a lot of music recommended to me that is outside of at least the North American, European. Even, like, Latin music is regularly, like, recommended to me. African music and, like, a lot of traditional Asian music are two types of music that just do not ever get... They don't end up in my recommended list, ever.
Well, so you should listen to more of it. You should seek it out more.
I should seek it out more.
And that's what we're doing here with this album.
I shouldn't be a lazy music listener. So this came on, and it starts off with just some vocals, and then like a light boppy electronic intro. And I was not expecting that, because I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, like I was expecting more like traditional music. I saw him with a guitar on the cover. I was expecting like a modernized version of it, but I was not expecting like, I don't know, like electronic. And then like it comes in with these like this pretty cool like arpeggiated electronic part that comes in towards like the second half of the song. There's these really high pitched vocals, and it almost sounds like you'd hear it on like a slightly older Gorillaz song or something.
Yeah, speaking of, I feel like it there was a filter applied to this album. Last time Joey and I spoke after recording the last episode, I stumbled onto the wiki page of Welcome to Molly, and we found out that Damon Albarn of Gorillaz actually helped produce this album. So knowing that was maybe a mistake, but it kind of gave me a filter of which to view the album that makes some of this remind me of Gorillaz in some weird backwards fashion. But the sound of this album is still distinctly different. I would
Yeah.
not confuse any of this for Gorillaz music, but like knowing that Damon Albarn worked on the album kind of gives me some ideas of like, oh, that feels like Damon's touch, kind of a thing going
Yeah,
on.
you can definitely hear the producer credit for sure once you kind of go into it with that mindset. But hearing this song actually made me go back and check out their previous album, which pardon my pronunciation, but
She said, "Pardon my French."
pardon, I should have said, goddamn, pardon my French.
It was
Je
right
peine
there.
toi, I'm guessing is how you pronounce that. And you know, it doesn't really sound too much like this song. I listened to quite a few songs on that album, and it sounds more like what I expected.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I still liked it a lot. I like this song a lot, but it gave me a bigger appreciation for kind of the collab with Damon Albarn as the producer,
Hmm.
and then Amadou and Mariam as like the actual musicians bringing, where it was just kind of like they were writing super cool songs, and then Damon brought like a little flair to it.
Yeah,
It just seemed like a cool team.
I agree. And man, the instrumentation throughout this whole album is phenomenal. They have a ton of shit packed in to every song, and it's like you said, it's kind of taking some of the traditional African roots, I guess, for a lot of it, and modernifying it. But it's to such an extent that they've really made like a modern, almost like pop album. There's a lot of like rock elements, but yeah, it's totally not what I had in mind when I came in through it. But I can't say I'm upset with it. I do have an overarching complaint, I think, with this album, but we'll get to that as it comes up. Lyrically, the song. Uh, so we mentioned that most of the songs are French titled or other African. I've already forgotten the word that you gave, and you're
Bombara.
right. Bambara, in language. The lyrics are also split between the same French and Bambara, I suppose. But this one, it's the song felt like kind of a general vibe set, and it's about like having fun making music and the love of sharing that music with the audience. And then it kind of pivots into a more like specific love song, I think, but in the spirit of just having fun and making music, I'm not gonna like tear it apart and say like that's kind of a weird shift. Although that seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the songs on this album maybe don't have focus when it comes to lyrics, but that could also just be like a translation thing.
Yeah, like that was, I guess, touches on something that I was kind of confused at certain parts about. It didn't happen to me so much in this song necessarily. Like it wasn't as jarring, but there were definitely times where I was like, "What?" Like you
Yeah.
it seems like earlier in the song they were singing about something, and then the second part of the song is like the opposite almost.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I was running some of these through Google Translate, so really it might be my fault. So
Yeah, I found a website that had most of the lyrics translated, so I got lucky with that. But yeah, take what our criticisms of the lyrics with a grain of salt, because obviously we're not native speakers, and a lot of times things get lost in translation.
speaking of loss in translation, ce
Can you?
n'est pas bon. You
Is that how
know,
it's pronounced?
I maybe I know the est doesn't really. It's not nest,
Right,
so
right.
that's
Track
about
number two, "Ce n'est pas bon." That doesn't sound French to me,
it.
but that's what it's that's what I'm saying it is.
Yeah, you could say
This
can nest pas bon.
exactly, exactly. That's the American pronunciation.
Yeah,
But yeah, track number two, it's a bit more rocky. It brings in this distorted guitar, It's kind of crunchy that I like. It keeps some of the synth elements that were brought in the first track. It's got a lot of layered vocals that are really great. This song introduces, I guess, Amadou's voice, and it has just a specific like African feel to it with the choral arrangement of the vocals that permeates this whole album that I really like, and the song feels really really gritty in some ways, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like not that I don't really appreciate the instrumentation on this album, but I feel like they could have done a just vocal album, and I would have been all for it
Yeah,
because the vocalizations, the layered vocals on here are just so good. I like their voices and how they work together. But yeah, dude, this is more of what I was expecting whenever I guess first pictured the album in my mind whenever you recommended it. It
mhm,
was more like a modern take on what I would have imagined, I guess, African music to sound like. So,
yeah, and I think they capture that well. I think they do it good justice of finding a balance throughout this album. I'm super into it.
yeah. And this is like this whole thing is so completely out of my wheelhouse. I don't even know what is normal and what is not.
That's
So,
true. That's
but I
true.
like it. It sounds really cool. And there's like a marimba or something playing a super cool melody. Other note like 3.0, I'm gonna say a bunch of like instruments that are probably the wrong instrument. So don't hold me to that.
Yeah, I called out one instrument by name specifically on this in my notes this whole week, but I've noted instruments in several occasions.
Yeah. Lyrically, this one is entirely in French. And luckily, the point is pretty clear. It's not like a super lyrically dense song where I mean the actual title of the song means it's not good, and they're pretty much just criticizing politics, talking about all the dumb shit in politics that is not good, that directly works against the people who are being affected by the politics.
Yeah, and it's just shitting on politicians for being so petty and two-faced and corrupt and selfish and stuff. And it's kind of one of the big themes on this album is like peace and unity and acceptance. And this is kind of putting that to the front by kind of, I guess, criticizing the opposite and talking about how we're so divided by politics because of greed and corruption and all that good fun stuff that people love to sing about.
Yeah, dude, that's why we need anarchy. We need to bring Amadou and Mariam and Johnny Hobo together
Yeah,
and
that'd
Pat
be a
the Bunny.
wild collab.
God damn.
I would listen to that album. I don't think I would like it, but I would listen to it for
I'd
sure.
listen I'd listen to it so fucking much. I'd listen to it more than that Mumford and Sons album that they just like randomly fucked off to South Africa and did a folk album with a bunch of South African artists. That now
That
that
sounds cool, but
yeah,
I've also not heard that. So
well, maybe we will eventually.
maybe
And
at some time.
until then, we'll just have to keep listening to this album. So on to Magosa.
Mugasa. Track number 3, Flying Through It. This one kind of took an additional step where you said like the last one felt more like what you expected. This one kind of came in more with the percussion and the wind instruments that felt more like world, quote unquote, world music as we label it here in America. It's got a good groove to it, but there's not a lot of like super remarkable bits to it for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. It kind of started to fall into, I guess, not really the trap, but they found their groove, I guess, with this song, or they found not found their sound, but the sound kind of didn't vary too much once they hit
Right.
this song specifically, where it's like they found their super groovy drum beat. They that whatever that cool wind flute instrument that came in,
Hmm.
I'm digging it, man. And that's kind of like, yeah, this is where I would have expected it to go. It's nothing's blowing me away. Although there is a super cool solo in there, but I
Yeah, for
don't
sure.
know for the life of me what that stringed instrument is. And I tried looking it up, and I just, couldn't find it. So I don't know what it is, but it sounds cool. And I like that there's a solo in there.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna complain about it.
There's a lot of solos on this album and a lot of cool instruments on this album, and that's something that is going to be the case throughout every song pretty much. Just the instrumentation is really cool. Lyrically, I feel like this one maybe was lost in translation a little bit, but from what I was getting, it seemed to be like a story about a man who left his life behind without telling anybody, and then that caused his wife to fall into some bad ways. And it wasn't clear if she was talking about herself when she's writing the song, or if she's talking about someone she knew, or if it's just a story. There are some later songs that kind of tie into similar themes that I was picking up on, but I'm still not 100% sure if it's more like allegory or if it's like a literal reference.
Yeah, that's one thing I was wondering about because Amadou and Mariam are married in real life, which it's crazy. They're both blind and they met at like a school for the blind
Hmm.
and joined a band together and they're married. So I didn't know if like some of the songs were about each other, but there
Right.
was there was talk of some strife in some of the songs, and I didn't know if that was like a literal thing or if they were stringing along a narrative. But yeah, I was trying to figure it out, but I
Yeah, I kind of feel like I again this is a total dart thrown in the dark at a dartboard 5,000 miles away, but it kind of made me wonder if they were taking like traditional folk songs or like parables or things like that from their area, from their upbringing, and kind of spinning them into songs.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe. For all
Amadou
I
and
know.
Mariam, if you're listening, let us know. Get
Yeah,
in contact.
shoot us an email, you know, because
Make it happen.
that's what we're all about here at Feedback Loop is in interacting with the
Yeah.
artists. And also, whenever you're emailing us, feel free to throw in a translation for the next word, jama.
Jama. I
Even
feel like
though
I knew what this one was.
it means people, I'm fairly certain because
There you
that
go.
that tends to be whenever I look at the translations what it equates to. But I couldn't figure out how to segue, so I just acted like I didn't know what it meant. So
Hey, not knowing how to segue is a segue in itself. Jama, track number 4, starts off with this kind of like looping, crackly record that's playing some like groovy disco, and then it blends in some kind of like reggae-ish vibes, and it's a really great feeling. I like the sound. They do a lot of that throughout the album of just having kind of like traditional like hip hop kind of beats and stuff mixed with like reggae. I feel like there's a lot of like reggae inspiration in some of their in a lot of their songs, I should say. There's a really cool little change up in the song that they throw in a couple times towards the end that spice things up, that just kind of like resets momentum a little bit, but it's a nice little flair.
yeah, throws it in like a halftime feel or something for a second,
Yeah.
but it's just short enough to not really like drag the song along, but it just
Yeah, and
changes
it
things
doesn't
up enough.
derail it. It just kind of like it catches you off guard for a second and then goes right back into the song.
Speaking of like the hip hop reggae like mashup thing, I meant to mention this on track one, but parts of this album kind of reminded me of the Nas and Damian Marley album,
Hmm.
and
I've not listened to that, but I'm aware that it exists.
you should. And it kind of blew my mind because okay, so Sabali sounded kind of familiar. Apparently, Nas and Damian Marley did like not they sampled it, but by sampled it I mean kind of just like used it as the entirety of a beat for a
Yeah,
song that they did, and I was like, that's where
interesting.
that came from. But yeah, it's cool, super cool.
That is super cool.
This song though, also speaking of super cool things, I actually kind of like I like the lyrics on this one. It just seems to be about like not letting life get you down when things aren't really going your way, and to like believe that everything will come around in time. Especially there's the last line is just time itself is temporary, and I don't know,
That's
just like
deep.
that line stuck with me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain it is in a different language, but just whenever I read it while listening to the song, I was like, that's pretty cool.
For sure. It's a lot to ponder on and philosophize about. I do think it's weird. The song is mostly positive, but it kind of takes a dark undertone where they mention like a man starts to feel the tedium of a marriage not working, if a woman starts to feel the tedium of a marriage that's not working. And that was kind of this dark undertone that I think permeates a few of the tracks, is that kind of like what you mentioned, where we're not really sure if they're referring to themselves or if it's just a story kind of a thing. But the amount of times it comes up is kind of unsettling for me. But it could just be a translation thing.
Yeah. Or it just could mean that they're like I don't know, maybe they're more open about
It's true. There's
like,
struggles as being a
yeah.
married couple.
Because I mean, it's not like that's not something that happens to like
Sure.
literally every married couple, but I guess you just
Yeah,
usually
I
don't.
mean, yeah, and the point of the song is saying like, look, if you're starting to feel like your marriage is not working, like, don't let that bum you out. It's something that happens, so you'll get through it because everything is temporary, kind of a thing.
Even life,
Even life, even time itself.
even my understanding of Juru, the word that is the title of the next track, that is temporary.
What is track number 5 Juru translate to,
I
Jay?
don't know. My understanding of it was pretty temporary. I read it once earlier, and now I don't remember it.
So be it. Track number 5, Drew, DJURU is how it is spelled for anybody else out there. But this one has a lot of cool textures and vibes throughout it. I really dig the track. It's got some rocky stuff. It's got some more like traditional African instruments in it, and it's got those kind of like hip hoppy beats underneath their kind of layered vocals and stuff that just everything comes together very well.
This one for like introduced also a guitar tone that I really like, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
this super bassy electric guitar tone that's kind of punchy in the way that like a Western like electric guitar or like a Bond movie electric guitar
Yeah,
is or something, and it just sounded super cool. It just brought like a whole new feel to it that I didn't feel in the first few tracks.
yeah, I like the guitar tone again. It gives it kind of that rocky vibe that I was surprised to get from this album. Lyrically, this one I felt was another kind of strangely ominous one,
Yes.
where they're singing about like keeping your word and paying your debts on time, and they go through this list of like, hey, if you do this on credit, you got to pay them back. You got to do this if you borrow from this person, pay them back. Don't don't deal with it. But then they also turn it around and say, if you don't pay them on time, like don't be ashamed of it. Don't fight with them.
Yeah, that
But
yeah, like
they don't really offer a solution to that. It's like, don't worry about it if you don't.
this was the one where like the juxtaposition of the first and last lyrics was just so off that I was just like, I don't understand. And I can like I can kind of understand it where they're saying like, don't let it be the end of the world. Like, do your absolute best
Yeah,
to pay your debts back on time. But just like the whole song is so matter of fact, where it's like, and once again, this could be a
it's
translation
very
thing.
specific.
Yeah, it's like it's listing like literally everybody. Like it's like they just walked down the street and found all their neighbors and was like, okay, what kind of person are you? You that kind of person? If you take a loan from them, pay your debts on time. If you take a
Yeah.
loan from that fucking dude over there, pay your debts on
If you
time.
buy meat from the butchers, pay them back. If you buy fish
Yeah.
from the fishers, pay them back.
If you ride a
It's
car
very
5 towns
specific.
over to buy your clothes, definitely pay that shit back on time.
Yeah, yeah, it's very strange, and I feel like a lot of that is due to translation being difficult, but it's almost humorous, I think, to me
Yeah.
that we have such a strange juxtaposition and kind of an ominous tone of like having all of these debts to all of these different people that you're worrying about paying back.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a government loan officer who's like
Yeah.
reading out a contract to you that's like, no matter where you borrow this money from, you better pay this back on
Or
time.
we will find you.
But then at the end, they're like, but really don't worry about it. I mean, like it's like student loans where they're like, yeah, we'll defer them until you're out of school. But then like at the out of school time comes and they're like, oh shit, dude, you better fucking pay us back right now.
Yeah.
We're not loaded. What do you think we are? The government? What do you think we
You think we can just spot you that kind of money? Trillions of dollars in debt. We don't have enough money to pay for anything.
I'm more in debt than you are, dude.
Exactly. Track number 6, moving right along. J'étais kiffé.
Kif.
Kiff?
Kif Croker, assistant lieutenant to Captain
Oh,
Zap Brannigan from Futurama.
sure. I'm sure that's what that song is about and not a French word.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Futurama lately, and I just had to
Yeah,
throw it in
well,
there because
stop
literally
it.
every time I read it, I'm just like Kif, yeah, the
It's
green guy.
it's kiffé. It's
Kif.
French. Kiffé.
I feel like whenever I actually try to do a French accent, I feel like everything I'm saying is mean or like derogatory in some way.
Je te kiffe. It's fine. It's fine. It's just it's the way it flows off of my lips, my American lips.
Yeah, this one, it starts off with a gentle key part and like some cleaner guitar coming in over the top of it. Like, but the vocals on this one are like right in your ear,
Yeah.
right? They're right up. They're speaking directly into your brain, and
Yes,
it feels
I
weird.
literally wrote, "Part of me is repelled by the dense slash wide layered vocals," which is similar to my reaction to the Jacob Collier album we did.
Hmm.
It kind of hits a very similar thing. I don't think it's overdone in this track. Fortunately, I think they do it briefly and then they move on and then they kind of bring it back and then move on. So it's not like unbearable, but I think it's just something about it being so close and so like filling in my ears. I don't listen to ASMR stuff either because
Yeah,
it makes me physically like cringe. I just can't stand that stuff.
I feel that, and luckily, it's only this one features has a feature on it.
Yeah.
Juan Rosoff, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. I think it's only whenever he is singing
Hmm.
that it does that has that effect. So I mean, I'm sure it's intentional and not just a mixing error. But
For
yeah,
sure, for sure.
I'm right there with you about ASMR. It gives me the skeeves. It
The
feels weird.
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, but the rest of the song, like, it starts to feel a little bit more rock and roll, which is kind of like it doesn't it doesn't go so far that it doesn't keep the nice and gentle and cleaner feel from the beginning,
Hmm.
and it keeps it restrained. Like, it never goes too far, but you can feel it. It's like, I'm guessing Amadou's the guitar player because
Yeah, I would
he's the
imagine
guy
so.
that has the guitar on the cover. It's just, it's stereotyping. I'm sorry, the guy holding the
It's
guitar,
not it's
I'm
not
assuming he's the
stereotyping.
guitar.
It's an educated assumption.
But yeah, he's I'm guessing it's him, and I feel like he just wants to rock. Like, I feel like that's
Yeah.
because you can just hear it kind of coming in, creeping in whenever he's playing guitar, and he's really good at it, and I like it
Yeah.
a lot. And so I just like to hear it come in, even on tracks like this where it's a little bit more restrained. But he's just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna
Getting it.
throw in a little bit of this." It's
Yeah,
cool.
just lickage just everywhere, riffing all over the place,
Yeah,
which is good for him.
yeah,
Lyrically, it's another like generally positive song with vibes about like picking your friends well and being loyal to them and loving them no matter where you are or what happens was the translation that I got from it.
that's exactly what I got from it. And
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
just about keeping good people close to you and loving those people. So
Hell yeah. Moving right along. Track number 7. The Masitalade.
how did
I I don't know. They say it in the song and
they say it so much in the song, and what
it's
does it
gone.
mean? What does it
I
mean?
feel like it's someone's name was the conclusion
Okay,
that I came to.
okay,
I
because
think they were telling a story about a person.
Masitilati,
Masitalade.
Tilati. That sounds
I don't know.
Italian.
It's this one's another kind of like vibey, islandy rock song kind of thing with it's got a lot of good like driving motion to it, and I really like how they blend the kind of like happier, I guess quote unquote islandy is what I said instruments with the crunchier rock sound of Amadou just getting it with his guitar.
Yeah, dude. And speaking of getting it with his guitar, he's got a solo on here, a pretty cool solo, and I like it. That was my main note. Like, there comes a point where it's like I
Yeah,
kind of know what sound to expect from him,
for sure.
but I like it. It's a super cool sound, and I'm definitely going to integrate this song or this album into my casual listening once I can pull myself out of the muck that I've been trudging around in lately.
I feel that. I feel that, man. Hopefully next week we'll get to trudge around in some together. I'm
Yeah,
kind of looking forward to that.
hopefully, because
Lyrically, this one this one again hit on that kind of recurring theme of a failed marriage, but it seems to be telling like about it's telling someone that threw their life away, perhaps the same person from before, that they can redeem themselves and that they can come back from this and restore themselves with a caveat that they have to kind of do it themselves. No one else is going to fix their life for them. Is the vibes that I got.
yeah, that's pretty much what I got. Like, he or she, I don't know. For some reason, I d- a second ago I didn't even know what Massi Talati meant.
Yeah.
And now that I know it's a name, I immediately
I don't. You don't know it's a name. That's
I don't
just the
know it's a
assumption
name.
that I have.
If I heard it as a name, I would attribute it to a woman. So I was about to say she, and then I was like, I don't know. That could be a guy's name. That could be a they's name. I don't fucking know, dude.
It's true.
It's
It says
just,
your wife left you, so I assumed male, but that's
well,
on me. That's on
yeah,
me.
that's on you, Jeremy. I'm flipping this on you, man.
That's on me, man. I'll take it.
But yeah,
Here's my
I pretty much
traditional
got
upbringing.
what you gleaned from this, and I don't know, man. I don't know all these languages. You think I was from Africa the way I was? I fucking.
Think you would feature Kanon on a track number 8 called Africa.
I've heard of this guy before. The
I
feature.
have not.
You haven't? I don't know
No.
if I've ever heard anything by him, but he's like a pretty
Well
big
known.
dude. Yeah. I mean,
He's a rapper.
he's like Canadian Somalian, I think, is his
Uh,
dual ethnicity. Not ethnicity. I think he was Somalian and then is now like a Canadian citizen or something. But
Damn French people, man. They're getting
yeah,
around
dude.
everywhere.
That's probably why he moved to Canada. Maybe
Yeah.
he already spoke French, moved to Quebec.
Yeah, this one has another kind of good mash of instruments and styles. This one kind of brings in. I was getting more like soul and big band vibes from this one that were kind of applied, but it's just good. All the instrumentation of it. The only complaint about it is that it's not like a super standout track. Like a lot of these tracks just kind of hit the same stride. Like you said in the last one, we kind of know what we're expecting at this point.
Yeah, I do like the brass that comes in, or like I don't. It sounds like there's some sort of horns going on
Yeah,
that give it like a reggaeton vibe. But
for sure.
is it reggaeton? Is that like the weird boom bap electronic, like Latin music? I'm thinking
That's Moombaton.
Moombata. Okay,
I don't know, man. I don't listen to music.
dude,
Don't come at me acting like I have a podcast talking about music.
it's okay. I like literally only listen to fucking sadcore music now. I feel like once I was like a butterfly that was spreading its wings all over the world, and now I'm just like a rock that somebody tried to skip
Sits
into
in a puddle.
yes, tried to skip on a murky lake, and now I'm just sank to the bottom, and there's like a catfish that's been on top of me for way too long.
Reggaeton, the definition is a form of dance music of Puerto Rican origin, characterized by fusion of Latin rhythms, dancehall, and hip hop.
Okay,
So yeah, it is kind of dancier.
I was probably thinking more close to dancehall than reggaeton.
Who
Because
fucking knows? Not
I
me.
don't know, dude. This song has English in it though, so
It does.
it has some English. It's not entirely in English, but I'm guessing that's the Kanan. I
Yeah,
think
it's Kanon. I think.
Kanan.
I think that's how he says it.
I don't with the whole apostrophe in there. I was thinking it was like Kanan, but
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
might read, but I think he says Kanon in the song.
Okay, but
Speaking of those English lyrics, I couldn't actually get a translation for the non-English lyrics in this one, and I refused to go to Google Translate and waste my time with that. But the vibe that I was getting from it, from what I could make out, was just it seemed like it was just like a love song to their continent, being Africa, and they kind of like make references to it as if they were a woman or a lover.
yeah, pretty much it was. It kind of brought in the themes of unity. Like it was definitely a love song to Africa, saying some of the French parts were like in Africa it's not just war, in Africa it's not just famine, in Africa there's solidarity, like talking about like we're a lot more than the problems that get pushed to the rest of the world, where
Like that.
we're our own unity, we're our own family here. There's the brothers and sisters all across, and it all
Our family.
there you go, man. That's right. But it was kind of like that, and it brought in we all need to kind of get along. Like it seemed to have a message of solidarity not only for Africa but also for the world at large as well. Because
Which
because
is
they
one of
need,
the big messages in this album.
yeah. There we go.
Track number 9, Compagnon de la Vie.
De la vie,
De la Vie.
companion of life, which
Yes.
marriage, because they're married. Maybe
That would make sense. This one is another. It's par for the course track. It's got a lot of guitars on this one. There were lots of layers of guitars. It's got some horns. It's got this fucking rock organ that
Hell
came out of
yeah.
nowhere and
Damn
fucking
straight.
surprised me. But otherwise, it's nothing too wild.
Yeah, this song, I will note, it reminded me of Superstitious by Stevie Wonder. because of like the organ keyboard sound.
Yeah,
But yeah,
killed it though.
yeah, dude, definitely killed it. The song, it just seems to be about the person that the singer loves, a dedication to that person. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
pretty unexciting love song.
yeah, which all love songs are, like, unless they're some sort of bittersweet or tragic love song. There's not really.
All of the heartbreak albums we've
Yeah.
talked about.
God, what does that say? Like, I don't know.
It does,
Sometimes I just.
it says that America loves heartbreak. Heartbreak sells because it's relatable.
Well, I mean, like, I don't even like regular heartbreak. Like, I mean, I guess I like Adele, but there's a lot of like, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into this. I feel like I like super tragic heartbreak. Like
Oh, for sure.
A Crow Looked at Me is one of the most tragically heartbreaking albums. But I guess it's not. I don't like breakup albums. I like heartbreak albums. I guess
Right.
I'll make that distinction.
You like the aftermath, not you don't like the songs to necessarily be literally about the heartbreak
Yeah,
as much as the feelings that come after
I like
or
the
during,
songs. Yeah, the songs made from the broken people who have had their hearts broken. I guess
which is all of us, man.
all of us, man.
All of us.
We're
We need to join in union.
unison.
In unison.
Unisons. No. No.
No noise. Featuring
No.
Keziah Jones. I cannot speak. Keziah Jones is featured in this one. This one, again, nothing too crazy outstanding, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's got some cool, funky vibes, and I really like Keziah's voice on this track. Kills it.
Yeah, me too. The main thing that stands out to me is I tried to look up the lyrics on Genius, and Genius, you need to get your shit together, man, because there's symbols and like half of this fucking lyric is a copyright symbol. Like, if you go to Genius and look up the lyrics to this, it's just a bunch of fucking C's and circles.
Yeah, I didn't go to. I went to Genius at the first track, realized that I didn't want to have to click on everything to translate it, and I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm gonna go find lyrics somewhere else. So I did, and on that, in that regard, I guess the song seemed to just be like another song about peace and unity, which
Yeah,
is cool, but it's not groundbreaking or anything
yeah,
for this album even.
yeah, yeah. This album, which, yeah, totally like the message, but yeah, we're gonna sound like a bunch of fucking bozos trying trying to repeat ourselves so
I
much.
feel like that might be an offensive segue to track number 11, Bozos, because the song's like a tribute to the Bozo people, which is like an ethnic group.
Jeez.
And
Okay, edit that out, Jeremy. Fucking cut that out.
it's staying in. He didn't know. It's fine. But yeah, the song is again, it's more of the same. However, it has a Masenko in it, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's the only instrument that I sought out in this because it's just some like it sounds like a jangly kind of cello vibe, and
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I couldn't tell if it was like a flute at first, some sort of like wooden flute, like pipe or something, but I'm pretty sure it's a Masenko, which is like a single stringed bowed lute kind of thing that's popular in like some African countries.
Okay, because I just called it a groovy cello. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called a Masenko. I could be wrong, but
Well,
I feel fairly confident in that.
well, I like it. I like the sound a lot. This one, as you could tell by my fucking tasteless segue, I had no idea what the lyrics were talking about because Google Translate does not recognize Bambara. So,
Yeah, they don't recognize any of the things that I did brave, but yeah, it seemed like the lyrics on the site that I was using had some of it translated, and I kind of did some research from that because I was like, "There's no way that this is just literally calling people bozos because
yeah,
of the way that they're using it." Like the translated lyric I was getting is like "bozo the noble, bozo the brave, bozo the lion of the water," which is what the bozo people are known for. They're renowned for their fishing. They're like a fisher tribe. I don't think tribe's the right word. I'm sorry, we're stupid Americans. But the Bozo people, they're like an ethnic group in Mali that are renowned for being fishers. So the song is just like it some points it calls like family names of the Bozo people, and other times it's just like giving them like titles like the noble, the brave, and stuff like that. Just kind of respecting their peoples, I suppose.
Well, that's a really fucking noble song. So I feel kind of like a dumb person.
You feel like a bozo, but
Yeah.
not in the respectable bozo way.
Yeah, but you know what, Jeremy? Since you showed me the light, I guess I'll follow you.
Oh,
I follow you.
you're gonna
Neon
follow me
nothing.
to track number 12
Yeah.
called I Follow You.
Dude, this song's
It's
in
an English
English.
one. Yeah. To that point, this is the first song that's completely in English. It has some nice strings and piano, which stands out on this album, which makes me think that maybe this was intended to be like the big like Western friendly single for this album to try and like get more attention.
Which
Which
a
is
little bit.
unfortunate that it had to happen,
Yeah.
but I think that was the vibe.
Well, I think Sabali definitely did a better job of that.
I agree.
Because that song just fucking jams.
It does.
And that's what really matters.
It does. I don't really vibe with the song too much. It's not a bad song, but I definitely agree that it feels out of place, and with it being all in English and with some of those deviations that felt markedly Western, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it's just soft and sweet.
And
Like
I'm not
it's
soft or sweet. I
yeah,
mean, I'm soft in like a fat and squishy way, but
definitely. That I was about to make that same observation about myself, so I'm glad you said it.
but yeah, it's a pretty simple love song again about kind of following your lover wherever they go, which again, nothing crazy or groundbreaking.
Well, maybe we can have that in the background whenever we're taking our trip over to Mali. And that way, whenever we step off the plane and they go, "Welcome to Mali," we'll at least know some of the local music.
Yeah, Welcome to Molly being the name of this album,
And
and
also the
also
name of
Track
Track
13.
13.
Gotta let it hang there a little bit.
You're scaring me, Jeremy. Jeremy, scaring me.
This Jeremy scaring me. Anyways, this one it goes back to the kind of more groovy rock vibes that we've kind of established throughout the rest of the album. I mean, it's the title track. It makes sense that this is kind of trying to get that unified sound.
Yeah, it kind of came back with the superstitious sound that I was talking about.
Are you superstitious about where they got their riffs and melodies?
I am. Dude, I just made this fucking connection that they're both blind. And so
Yeah,
is
I
Stevie
wasn't
Wonder.
gonna comment on that. I felt like maybe that was some like internal like bias or something that was
It's,
coming up. You're
it's
like,
an
hey,
internal struggle
they're
that I need to fucking deal with before I start talking on this podcast again. I'm
it's fine. We'll never
making
release this episode, right?
making segues about fucking a whole ethnicity of people.
No, it's good. People make mistakes. People fuck up. Just be an example. Recover, bounce back, be better, Joey.
But you know me, I don't learn from anything. I have never once bettered myself in my life. Just kind of.
Maybe you should go talk to your mother, which in their language of Bambara, I believe, is Batoma.
Is that what it? I thought it was just a name. Shit, dude. Well, I'm just fucking.
I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Don't throw in the towel just yet. That
Okay.
was my interpretation because I feel like at some point in the lyrics that I have translated, it did translate to mother, but they only did it once, and the rest of the time they were saying Batoma. But even in the context of the song, it kind of felt like it would fit. I don't know. I could be way off the mark, but I'm confident, so I'm sticking with it. Even if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments for sure. But that was what I stuck with on that. It has a lot of energy. I think it's a great inclusion for late in the album. This is the second to last track, so I feel like it had that kind of big ending energy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I like this song more than I like the next song. So,
I agree.
oh, well.
I agree wholeheartedly. And this was I kind of fucked up this week. YouTube Music fucked me because they have 3 different versions of this album. The primary one only has 14 tracks. So this whole week I've been listening to the 14 track version of the album. And then I noticed today when I was writing my notes that it said it had 15 songs, but the track listing only showed 14. So I went to one of the other versions and saw that not only is there a 15th song, but there are two different track 16s as well that were bonus tracks in addition. So track 15 was a total surprise for me. But yeah, this one, track 14 had the kind of good ending energy, I think, for me before track number 15, Sebeke.
Yeah, dude. This one, it threw me for a loop. So like all the songs on this album are between like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. This one, I was just looking like whenever I start writing my notes at the beginning of every week, I kind of make a template where I just write out like the number of tracks, and then I
Mm-hmm.
put the length next to it. And I got to this track, and I was like, oh, like all the other tracks, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 4 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
This track's 11 minutes and 41 seconds long, and I was like, what the fuck is going on
Yeah.
here? And I was,
It's a hidden track.
yeah, it's which all the whole way up to this, I was listening to these 3.5, 4 minute songs, like, what the fuck are they gonna do on an 11 minute track?
Yeah.
What's going on in this 11 minute track? What, did they write a rock opera? Are they writing like 2112 or something? Is this
Hell
gonna
yeah.
But no, yeah, it's a hidden track. There's like 3 minutes of silence in the middle of it.
Yeah, the song kind of carries over some of that strong ending energy from Batoma, but it didn't have the same feel. I didn't enjoy it as much. The hidden track is cool, but I don't know if it was needed. And that is my big complaint, I think, with this album, is that it's so much longer than I feel is necessary. I feel like they had some good ideas, and then they kind of just like rode on those same ideas. I feel like this could be an 8-track album, and I would be completely satisfied with it.
I agree. In the way that Nansemon could have trimmed the fat off of the length of some of its 7 songs, I feel like this could have trimmed the fat by just taking some of the tracks off.
Yeah, agree. I also couldn't find a translation for either of the final bits of the song for Sebeke, so I'm not really sure what the song's about.
Yeah, I couldn't find a translation for the like the first half, other than just like the French parts. I mean,
Yeah,
there's like those parts, but then I couldn't even find the non-translated lyrics of the second part on the websites that I was using. So,
yeah. Unfortunately, I picked a bad album for lyrical analysis. It seems
geez,
for
Jeremy,
us non-native speakers.
I
But
can't
if you have
believe
the
it.
lyrics, drop them in the comments. Let us know, or link us. Send us a message. Tell us where we can find them. Or if you have issue with things that we've said, I don't know. I feel like this wasn't a bad pick. I think it was good. I enjoy discovering this kind of music and getting out there and listening to foreign music. But I feel like maybe that's also part of it, is that because it is foreign, it's less easy for me to sit down and listen to at length. And this, like, we did the Calma Carmona EP last year. That was only a handful of songs, and it was relatively short. I think it was like a 15-minute EP or something. And that's a good segment of time dedicated to listening to foreign music. But I think when it gets up, this album's an hour long. Like,
Yeah,
hearing this kind of music for that kind, maybe it's just because of my Western ears that it all kind of like, it felt samey, it felt repetitive, it felt like it wasn't really going anywhere, and I had gotten the point halfway through the album.
yeah. I also like. I do agree with that. I also think that I don't know. Whenever I can listen to an average or even above average like album from like Western music art something in my wheelhouse, and
Hmm.
I can at least have stuff to say about it or stuff to kind of relate it to because I have some context to it. My entire life has been spent listening to what I would imagine are the inspirations to the person that created this album, stuff that is like kind of the same, so I have other things to compare it to. I can like
Yeah,
and I'm living this semi living whatever experience they're talking about, surely. So like I have context for all of it. And whenever we get into music, especially music that's so far removed from my world
yeah,
experience, I don't have all that context. So I don't catch the nuances that somebody who's living in Mali, like
it's true.
listening to this, is like getting.
Yeah, I
So
feel like even just listening to this album in Mali has such a different vibe. probably.
Yeah.
Even as a foreigner, like if you were to go to Mali and listen to this, I feel like some things would click more than others, or more
But
than they would without it.
the music really fucking jammed.
It
So
does. It's a cool album. I definitely recommend it. I might check out their previous album. You said that it had a pretty distinct feel to
yeah.
it, so maybe I'll give that a peek as well. What are we doing next week, though?
Okay, so next week we're doing an album by a band called Basement, and
Basement.
the album is called Colourmeinkindness, all one word, and it's got a U in color because maybe they're British. I don't know, but it's Colourmeinkindness.
Cool. I am down to clown. Hopefully, we get some of that bog water that you've been wading through. But I guess we'll see next week.
Bog
Stay in our
water.
feedback loop.
Bye.
Stay in our bog water loop.
Bye.